It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
Bucky Irving, the setback. Left side hip. Good snap. Gets the pass away. Caught ball by Emeka Ibuka. Inside the 10. The 5, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Ibuka does it again. 3 touchdowns in a game and a quarter. Mayfield sends it back in motion. Hands the ball off for Sean White. Into the end zone. Is he in? Is he in? Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Buccaneers take the lead at 20-19.
And they run 4. Herbert has all day in the pocket. Takes a shot downfield. Q wide open. Caught. Quentin Johnson. Touchdown. Chargers. 60-yard touchdown. Herbert to Q. Gino, they rush 4. Pressure coming. Takes a shot to the end zone. Popped up in the air. Intercepted for the 3rd time. A touchback.
I think Derwin tipped it.
Derwin definitely tipped it. And Dante Jackson comes down with it.
Highlights from Monday Night Football, a pair of games. The Bucs, a late touchdown. 6 seconds to go, they beat the Texans 20-19. And Geno Smith throws 3 picks. Chargers beat the Raiders 20-9 in Las Vegas. You got any opinion on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers early on here? That division gets dismissed all the time as terrible division. They'll do nothing.
Yeah, I do. I think that those are 2 decent teams. Tampa's a tough team to play on any given, in this case, Thursday, obviously.
Monday, but yes.
Mayfield or Monday. Did I say Thursday?
You did.
And I just want to get to Texas Tech, Utah.
Clearly. Speed it up.
And Baker Mayfield's a tough kid. He's always been a tough kid. He's an in-your-face kid. He doesn't back down. He had that scramble, looked like he went down hurt, but he had to get up and trash talk first.
Sure, why not? I'm Baker Mayfield. I got to stay on brand.
Yeah, and that's the way I think they are. They're gutty. I don't think they're going to go deep into the playoff, but I just think they're a tough team.
Chargers lose Khalil Mack. We'll see for how long. He had an elbow injury, left the game. Apparently in a lot of pain. MRI coming up, other tests to figure out how bad it is and how long he's going to be out for.
I think you guys got a good team, man.
Yeah.
And I think they're
one of the 3 best in the AFC.
Harbaugh knows how to win.
Bills won, and then Ravens, Chargers the next 2.
I think Herbert is right there. I would go my top are still Mahomes until he shows me otherwise. Maybe that this is the start of something. But it's more on the team rather than him.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are my 3 best. And I think in that next group, you can put Herbert in there. And he's still emerging. He's still a youngster in terms of his development, even though he's been in the league, 3-4 years now?
No, I think it's more than that now.
5, 6, 7, 8 years now?
I think this is his 6th or 7th year in the league.
7th year? Wow.
Now, why do you say it like that?
Because I didn't think it was that long. But I think he's a good player.
His rookie year was 2020, so this is year 6. Who else is in that second tier of quarterbacks?
A whole bunch of guys.
Okay.
Burrow, but he's hurt. He's been hurt before, missed chunks and significant seasons, and now...
Can we label him injury prone? Feel comfortable with that now?
No.
Really?
Obviously you do.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that I am, yes.
Okay, well, I said, no, and you said you're starting to. That doesn't put him in that category.
Yeah, you're right. I get it.
I mean, come on. That other group is pretty select. Bo Nix is on his way.
Jordan Love?
Jalen Hurts deserves it, and obviously Daniels and Love. Let's see, I'm running. I'd have to get out the NFL roster, not the rosters, but the standings to jar.
Yeah.
I think that'd probably be about it. Maybe Stafford when he's got it going on. He's obviously trending towards the end. And the
So
rest
3
of them
guys
are a
in your
bunch.
top tier and another half dozen or so in the next tier. Yeah, I can live with that. I think you're in the ballpark there.
Oh, thank goodness.
I thought you would think so. Speaking of one of those guys, Jaden Daniels left knee injury last Thursday. Will he play Sunday against the Raiders? He's considered day-to-day right now, so see what happens with that. And Vikings starting quarterback J.J. McCarthy suffered a sprained right ankle and lost to the Falcons. He's going to be out at least 2 weeks, maybe as many as 4. Carson Wentz, the backup there, so he will step in as Minnesota starter for at least the next couple of games. They may be missing Aaron Jones, hamstring injury in Cincinnati, so he might be out for a while here. And speaking of hamstring injuries, Kyle Van Noy, the former BYU Cougar, now in Baltimore, out at least 2 weeks, maybe 4, hamstring injury. Led him with 12.5 sacks last year, which is a career high. And Tom Brady in retirement, still stirring up controversy. He was observed in the Raiders coaching booth during the game last night. Reported he's consulting with the Raiders coaching staff on a weekly basis with game plans and the like. They're letting him do meetings with Fox this year, but he does them on Zoom and he doesn't get to go to practice. So
that's controversial.
Keeping him out of buildings. Yeah, apparently the other NBA owners are not, the other NFL owners are not thrilled with giving him access to their team and their facilities when he's a Raider owner and hip deep in roster and game planning.
Why is that controversial?
Well, they don't, and it's controversial because broadcasters usually do get that access, but they're not giving it to him.
That doesn't sound controversial.
It sounds like they've reached a resolution. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
Texas quarterback Arch Manning vows to be better after a lackluster performance against UTEP.
Is he going to vow to be worse?
I know the type of player that I am. I know I'm going to play better, and we're going to be better as an offense. 8th-ranked Texas hosting Sam Houston in Austin this week.
Oh, he'll be better this week.
He should be better this week. He's
playing one guy?
Yeah, just Sam. Ute safety Rabbit Evans out for the season after undergoing season-ending surgery. Saw him go down in the Wyoming game. It looked bad. His reaction, the players' reaction with him, they all knew it was bad, and he's done for the year.
Yeah, that sucks for him, for sure.
Yeah. The Big 12 road game at West Virginia will now kick off at 1:30 Mountain Time on Fox. How's that for convenient, right in the middle of your day?
Well, we know the home games are going to have a strong possibility of being at odd times, 10 a.m., 8 o'clock. But when they go on the road, it's not going to be that way, which is an improvement. If you're looking for one improvement over the Pac-12, I think you can point to that. Because they
were getting home from those 8:30 Mountain Time kickoffs at Washington or Stanford or wherever, and they were getting home at like 4 in the morning. 1:30 here, they'll get home earlier, even though they're coming home from West Virginia.
But the teams that come out this way they're going to get home
They're not
even
loving
worse.
it. Yeah, they're not loving it.
Yeah.
LSU coach Brian Kelly apologizing to a reporter for his tirade after the Tigers won 20-10 over Florida. Questioned about the team's offensive struggles. He says, I've texted with the reporter and offered my apology to him for the way I handled the questioning. I think it's important to understand that, my standards relative to how we work with the media on a day-to-day basis need to be higher. And I take responsibility for that, and I'll be better in the future.
Yeah, it was a good apology, but there was a yeah, but in there. And I sort of agree with his yeah, but when you're asking for specific analysis of what happened, it's very difficult for coaches in the sport of football to be able to see as well compared to their
compared to a basketball coach
in other sports, baseball, whatever. Yeah.
Basketball coaches are getting asked these questions after game, but it's 10 guys and they can see it.
Yeah,
and 22
they can
guys
see it,
and you're obscured.
They tend to, if it's negative towards their guys, well, I didn't see it. They tend to say that.
Yeah.
Rather than, he shouldn't have done. He took a cheap shot. I didn't see it. Sure, you didn't. It's BS. Like people who spend their lives online, and then there's something that is controversial towards them, and they don't want to discuss it. Oh, I didn't see that. Bull crap. Yeah, yes, you did. You're just lying, and they tend to do that too. But in football, I got to look at the film type of thing. But I mean, you got to handle the question better. You can't take it personal. I mean, I obviously have no clue who the guy is, but I doubt he cares a lick about your offense. He's just asking the question because it's an obvious question.
20 points isn't a lot of points, but Rich Rod has had a lot of negativity there, and they want to win them all, and he just won a game, and he doesn't want to hear any of that. So
Brian Kelly.
Rich Rod?
Why did I say Rich Rod?
I don't know.
Because I was talking about West Virginia. I was thinking about Rich Rod exploding. Yeah, I don't know. Brian Kelly doesn't want to hear. He wants some positivity after they beat Florida. He feels like it's a big win, and so he snaps. DJ PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
2 balls, 2 strikes, bases loaded, 2 outs, the pitch. Swinging a bouncer to first. Harper gloves it, takes it himself, and the Phillies take the National League East Division crown. It's their second straight divisional crown as the Phillies come running out of the dugout and share hugs on the pitcher's mound at Dodgers Stadium.
10 innings, the Phillies beat the Dodgers. Late homers, game-changing, tie game, back and forth. The Phillies finally get the win.
It's the earliest we've clinched the division.
Nice. He's got the Phillies cap on. What is that imaginary made-up team that Jake says?
Him.
Filgerbacks.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Why,
Phillies,
why
Dodgers,
would you
and
ask me?
Diamondbacks. Because I know you know. I was struggling with it
Oh,
for
I'm
a
like
moment.
you? No, I didn't see that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Phillies 6-5. They get win number 90. They clinch the East. Put them in the postseason. Dodgers, 2-game lead over the Padres. Less than 2 weeks to go now in the season. Padres were off last night. Giants fell to the Diamondbacks 8-1. The Diamondbacks surging into late contention, late consideration for a wild card berth. They've stormed within, is it 2 games now?
It's a game and a half.
Game and a half. Look at you.
Look at me.
Yeah. You'll be in here with the
look at me?
Diamondbacks if they clinch with the Wildcat. You'll tip that cap.
I wouldn't think they would clinch into the wild card. That would be it. After they sold off guys and have had all these injuries.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're thinking, man, we should have kept our first and third basemen because we're only a game and a half back. We had that Suarez was hitting home runs left and right.
We can't hit him in Seattle, so
Yeah,
send
you
him
haven't
back.
heard his name much at all.
No, he's been awful.
Yeah, whereas it seemed like in Arizona, you were hearing his name every other day practically.
He went back to Seattle and went back to being what he was in Seattle before.
Yeah, and I just thought of that, man. I haven't heard jack about that guy.
It's because
and then a few
he's
weeks
done.
back, he didn't hit 4 home runs in one game, and he was
did.
doing all that stuff. It was like
did.
every other time he was going deep. And then where did he go? I mean, I knew he went to Seattle, but I just thought to myself, I haven't heard his name mentioned in weeks.
Apparently likes the desert air.
Yeah. So you have to wonder if they go, wow, man, we were really close, and because they had a little streak, and then they got cold again, and it was right on the deadline, so they did what they did. They sold 2 position players, 2 pitchers. I mean, they're only a game above 500, I think, so it's the product of the Mets.
Mets
really
going backwards.
sucking.
Yeah, it's the Mets going backwards. 2-8 in their last 10.
Yeah.
And the Mets are now only 4 games over 500. So
Right.
the Mets are a game and a half in front of the Diamondbacks, 2 games in front of the Reds, 2 games in front of the Giants. The Reds beat the Cardinals 11-6. So
I think the Mets play the Padres coming up. They're doing this little East-West thing going on.
they have to with 5 teams in the division, right? It's tonight, Wednesday, and Thursday, 3 games.
Go Padres.
Yeah. Bees open the final series tonight in Las Vegas against the Aviators. Tony Parks is on the call, 7:20, and then the first pitch will be at 7:35. What is trending is brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing.
When we come back, man, you're going to tell us who's going to be on.
Frank Dolce, former Ute quarterback, is going to join us at 8 o'clock. Chris Lovell, Texas Tech football sideline reporter, host of Lockdown Texas Tech, will join us at 9 o'clock. As you might imagine, the top 20 showdown is the topic of the day.
International superstar is dead, and he died in Provo, Utah.
We will get to that next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone.
It's game week for the Utes, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. The Utes are undefeated at 3-0, but now the season really begins as the Utes open up Big 12 play at home against Texas Tech. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Utah football and your chance to win tickets to the game. Then catch a special early edition of College Football Saturday starting at 8 a.m. with the postgame show immediately following the game on KSLSports.com.
Let's go then. Let's go, baby.
Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK brought to you in part by Sound Sleep Medical. Join Hans and Scotty G today from noon to 3 at Sound Sleep Medical at 8941 South, 700 East in Sandy. PK, they're stars. They're superstars. They're megastars. How many stars do you want to put on Robert Redford's name?
I guess as good as it can be.
Oscar-winning actor passing away at the age of 89. The news breaking this morning. Died in his sleep at his home, Sundance Resort, Provo, Utah.
In the mountains.
Yep.
Outside Provo, Utah. I mean, we glorify actors and actresses for some reason, and knowing that, he was at the top of the list.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. The Sting, two classics. Launching his career. Did some sports movies along the way. You ever see the golf movie, The Legend of Bagger Vance?
I don't know that I have.
Yeah. He directed that one, and obviously was in The Natural. Baseball and golf, two of your loves.
Yeah, I like the one where he hit up Demi Moore and paid her $1 million or something.
Yeah, that was another one of his movies.
Yeah.
Indecent Proposal.
It was tough on Woody Harrelson.
It was.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I've had that happen. I said, no, I'm going to remain faithful.
Not a kid.
I'm not straying.
Not about the money.
I know I look delicious, but I'm just not going there. Some things I won't do for money.
At what point did you decide to use the word delicious in this segment?
Right now.
About a second and a half before you blurted it out.
Yes.
Delicious. Robert Redford, 89, and created the Sundance Film Festival. Brought a lot of people and money to Utah. So
Now, is that moving?
yes, I've heard it is.
Going to Denver.
It's going to Denver?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So it was here last year, but...
Oh, it's been here for 3 decades.
Right, I understand that, but I'm talking about this very last year. Was it here last year?
Correct, yes. It's here for one more year, then it's going to Denver, as I understand it.
Oh, so we've got it in 26, but not 27?
I believe that to be the case.
Yeah, you know, when I was doing a lot of traveling for the Watchdog, that was in the heart of college basketball season, so I was spending a fair amount of time at the airport, and I would see many of those folks.
You see the stars coming and going?
Yeah. And a lot of it with me not being a big movie guy, I'd be like, man, I know who you are, but who are you?
You look familiar.
Yeah, right. You'd see them coming into town or leaving town, whichever the case may be. That and in the Thursday, Saturday schedule that they had in the early days, it was always tearjerkers or the best times ever. When they were leaving for 2 years, it was the tearjerkers, but when they were coming home, it was the great celebration.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was pre, you had a lot of time in airports pre 9/11. And so people would be all the way out at the gate, big groups.
Oh, yeah, and they'd stand right at the jetway and turn around, and you'd look back, and they'd be over there crying, and the young man or woman would be trying to hold it together. Goodbye. I love you. And now it's no big deal. Well, they can't get back there anyway. But as I understand from people who've had it, you can call the kid every third day. And some of the people around me that I've got to know, yeah, we got nothing to say, but we talk on the phone every week.
What's new? Nothing. How's the weather? It's hot.
Yeah. None of this twice a year spiel where it used to be just a dramatic interaction. Now it's like, hey, what's up? Well, yeah, and I took out the garbage and then just humdrum. So, because I guess there's no rules, you can call anytime you want, or I'm not exactly sure what.
From what I understand, they have what they call a preparation day, and it's once a week. And
so you can call on that day.
That day, usually it's a Monday or a Tuesday.
Okay, so it's just restricted to that day.
Speaking back in my era,
just twice a year.
Back in the day, tell us, Yak.
I only got to call home on Mother's Day and Christmas.
Yeah. Right. I remember I did a story on that. Austin Collie and his mother getting ready to receive the call on Mother's Day, and how it was such a big deal, and you looked forward to it. I guess you'd have it twice if they stayed out there the full 2 years and all. So I used to get all dramatically, emotionally high and low when I'd go to the airport in those days. And I'd see these young people, and I had a lot of respect for them that they would do that. But the emotional departures, I came to dread it.
It's hard to be you're walking out and there's a group walking back from a jetway and mom's crying.
Or you'd see them, they'd be, and that long walk down the jetway, it was like it was 1,000 yards or something, and they'd keep looking back. And I would start to tear up. So I asked a couple of guys on the that were on the beat that went on missions how they handled, because it was that, and then if you lived local, you could catch a glimpse of them because they would go down to Provo for the training, and then when they'd be sent wherever they'd be sent. And a couple of them told me, I told them, don't come that day. We already had the emotional goodbye. I've had a month or two, whatever it is. I've settled in. Let's not go through that again.
Stir it up.
We'll get through this. So, the range of emotions. And then, of course, when they come home, that was always that was great. I felt awesome about myself. And to see the moms would run up first, and I'd stand there and watch that, too. Got all that going on there. But, I saw the stars would come into town, the movie stars and all that, and Robert Redford would have to be at the top of the list if you're going to list movie stars of, 40, 50 years, whatever it might be. And plus he had this local connection. And Sundance over there, I've been up there a couple times, and it's a really cool place for sure.
Robert Redford was 89. A good long life. Our question of the morning, hot takes or toast? Sparked by the headlines, PK, do you think Kalani Sitake would show interest in the UCLA job? Now, you've written stories like this. Is this someone writing a story just looking at successful people around the West? What do you think spurred it? Because that's what spurred our question, was seeing his name in stories. But what do you think, before we get into people's reaction, what do you think spurred the fact that his name is in these stories?
I think it's the Keith Van Horn syndrome. And you may say, what is that?
What is that, PK?
Okay, you can say it. The day before he was about to be drafted, the NBA has these little breakout interviews for the top 10 guys, and they all know who they are at that point, basically, give or take a couple of players. And so they sit at individual tables, and I was there working for the newspaper at the time, and I covered Van Horn every game for his 4 years that he was there, got to know him very well. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm not asking questions at this point. I've asked him every possible question I could ask under 4 years. But I was just writing a story observing of what Keith was going through, knowing that at that point he was going to be the second pick because everybody knew Tim Duncan was going to be the first pick. And it would have been the next day, so it's the day before. And one of the questions was, and it was like a prevailing theme, was, hey, you kind of came out of nowhere in terms of, you went to this, at that point it was the WAC, Utah, and, did not being recruited by Pac-10 schools, did that motivate you? And he said, well, I was recruited by Pac-10 schools, but I chose to go to Utah. And where I'm going with this, it's the same thing. Well, you're at BYU, so of course you would be interested in UCLA because that's BYU, and we're over here.
Right. It's BYU, it's Utah, it's Salt Lake City, Provo.
Yeah.
This is now the Big Ten now. Then it would have been the Pac-10. But now UCLA is the Big Ten. Of course you want to be in the Big Ten. Of course you want to be in LA.
Yeah.
Where you are is down the step ladder.
Right. So this is the natural progression. You move up. And we suck right now, but we're in the best that there is so, of course, you would be interested, and you are a hot coach, and you're a minority, and all those things that go in it. I mean, that factors in. It's probably way down on the list, but the point being is not just a minority, but you're a Polynesian, and Polynesians are everywhere. They're not just dotted on rosters, they're dominating rosters. And so it's presumed that you would then be able to clean. And I've lived in the Southern California area. Down in the South Bay, there's tons of Polynesians who are really, really good in Hawthorne and in Carson and Wilmington and all those areas. And so I could see whoever wrote these, and it's been multiple, it's not just one, would think, oh, man, yes, of course they would be interested because look what he could potentially do. I can recall in the early days when Kalani was being labeled as the Polynesian recruiter, he went to great lengths to shed that. No, I'm a recruiter for talent. Don't pigeonhole me, man. No, because that's going to limit my ceiling. If I'm known as the Polynesian guy and I can get you these guys, no. That's not going to. I'm not going to get where I want to go.
It's not only going to be hard to be a head coach, it's going to be hard to be a coordinator.
Right. You're going to be pigeonholed in a box.
Right.
And I know he went to great lengths to say no. And if you know the man, of course he can recruit. He can recruit people
anybody.
who don't even know anything about football.
Yeah.
I mean, he's such a personable guy, obviously, and a warm individual and genuine and all those things. So that's who he is. But I get that would be the idea of the fact there's a lot of Polynesians in the LA area. Of course there are. And he's had pretty good success here. There's a few years back where, people were down on him and can he be tough enough and all that. And I can remember talking to him in the indoor practice facility, and we were just talking, and he says to me, yeah, I've heard that. Then he looked at me, and I'd known him 25 years at that point, and then he says to me, he's not to me personally, but he's speaking generally, he says, just piss me off and see what happens. And I backed up a couple of feet. Ooh, man. I mean, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I can feel the intensity.
Yeah, and so he can do what he needs to do while still remaining true to his personality. And sometimes that personality in the moment needs to change, and the level of discipline that's needed to run a college football program with young men who are the stupidest demographic group in America, according to Chris Peterson.
That's a different football coach, but a hilarious line.
So, yeah, you got all that stuff going on there. But, yeah, if I'm him, I would show interest. Now, what? What are you talking about? Hey, this isn't a calling. This is a job. And so if you can get more money and more security, do it.
Are you reaching for the word leverage?
Leverage and what Kalani's talking about is not just for him, but for his program. If they can give me this and this over here, well, what are you going to do? You can have all these good feelings, and he was a childhood fan of BYU, blah, 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 and that's great. But you got to keep up. If you stay stagnant, you're falling behind.
Raises for the staff, a bigger staff, creating more positions.
Everything.
Recruiting budget, more NIL for the players, on down the line. And actually doing these is like an educational, so much of this information is held pretty closely at schools. And so once you get in the process and you can have a real talk with an AD, you can get real numbers. Yeah. And now you know where the market is moving. As opposed to, reading about Texas Tech after it's done and realizing, to your point, if we're not getting better, we're falling behind. Because other people are accelerating quickly.
Right.
I mean, we were at the Kyle press conference yesterday, and he got the question about Texas Tech's $25 million. A lot of people who care, a lot of people invested. Good for them.
Yeah, and what Kyle does so well is he adapts. He is the great adapter. He's never whining about it. You never heard him say, man, this transfer portal thing is out of control. Yeah, it is, but that's the reality of it, so I can sit here and complain about it, or I could do something about it and keep pace or keep ahead of the pace, and that's who he is. No sentimentality. When the Pac-12 went, and it was easier for him because he didn't have a 50, 60-year history, whatever it is.
He's been through realignment twice,
but
and
he
didn't
just rolled with it and went and, okay, this is who we are. What do we need to do? Blah, blah, blah. And that's who he is, and that's really good for him to have. But I think, for Kalani, if I'm a BYU fan, and I know this is kind of counteract intuitive or whatever, productive maybe, whatever that following word would be. I would want him to show interest. I wouldn't want him to take it, but I'd want him to show interest because then he has that leverage to go back and he can see. Because at some point, the movers and shakers in Westwood are going to say enough is enough. Either we're in or we're out.
And they're not going to say we're out.
Yeah. And so they're going to go all in and things are going to change. They've been
down for a long time, yeah.
And it's not going anywhere. It's a miserable program. You're buried in, the second biggest media market, which is not an advantage. It's an advantage if you're receiving the attention from a positive perspective. Well, now they're receiving the perspective from a negative perspective, or attention, from a negative perspective. And so then once that dies, because stories don't take on, few stories take on weeks and weeks of attention, and then it'll die down, and then you go back to being irrelevant and an also-ran. So the powers that be, whoever they may be, with that program need to say, we need to go all in, whatever it takes if we want to win, especially now more than ever, because you're going to really get buried in a conference, and it's a very good football conference, there's no doubt about it, and you're going to get hammered here. And kids aren't going to want to go to where their parents have to travel back to Wisconsin. We always joked about Piscataway, especially if you're irrelevant and you're getting your brains beat out. Because clearly the parents will go, but the fans don't even want to go to Pasadena. It is a ghost town on game day. It's so sad. It reminds me of Colorado before Dion. Mm-hmm. And I've been in both situations several times.
Surrounded by acres of concrete.
Yeah.
And voices echoing around.
Yeah. And so they're going to make this commitment. Maybe it's now. And so Kalani can see what it's about and then go back to Santiago and say, hey. And then Santiago goes to his people and says, hey. And they've done great work on that. There's no doubt about it. They've made tremendous progress. But that's last year, and what's ahead and what type of progress you're going to do. So I would, if I'm a BYU fan, I wouldn't want him to take it, but I'd want him to show interest.
Mike, with Why Would He? You've just answered that. Brandon, he gives it the old Ron Boone. Oh, hell no.
Well, you're just looking at it from a fan perspective. And it's funny, when they went 4-9 and they were extending Mark Pope and Kalani wasn't getting extended, and I wrote about it, and a lot of people came after me hard, and they act like I made it up. Well, I didn't make it up. When you got 40 years into business, people tend to tell you stuff. You don't last 40 years if you're loose with what they tell you. And believe me, I'm not loose. Not at all. So when I say stuff like that, I'll just leave it at that.
Travis says he'd go if the money is right.
Well, see, if the money's right, then you go back, and then the money gets right here. And it doesn't necessarily have to be dollar for dollar, because obviously living in that market versus living in ours is a tremendous difference, cost of living and real estate and all that other stuff. So it doesn't necessarily have to be. And I think Kalani would be interested to make sure the program, and the program is everything that involves. It's individuals, but it's also things that are intangible. You can't give, you increase the medical, not just staff, but the assets that they have and they need and everything. And nutrition, Kevin Young brings in a nutritionist, a woman from the Suns, and he talks about her. And obviously he knew her down there because he came from Phoenix. And so that's important. So you got to make sure that you have the best of the best. You need the most quality people that you can have. And they've done great work, but you got to keep going.
Daniel says no, he won't go. It's a dumpster fire amidst a train wreck. He learned from following Gary Anderson how that model doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not about going, though. I didn't say, is he going to go? I said, is he going to show interest? That's purposely worded.
Worded that way.
Yeah. I would want him to show interest. You don't want to get too comfortable. I mean, he loves Santiago, and he said and all that. But at the same time, Santiago's the administration. He represents something different than what Kalani represents. And not to say that they're adversaries by any stretch, but because I don't think they are. Absolutely don't think they are. And I do believe they can have a close relationship. But they've got to make sure that they are keeping up.
Chris is going along these lines. Yes, show interest. Never hurts to listen to what they have to offer.
Right.
He should be set at BYU for as long as he wants to stay. He'll be taken care of financially, but never say never.
Well, in terms of showing interest, especially right now, because he's got representatives and all that, and they can do all that. You know?
They can delve into all of that.
Yeah.
In 20 minutes, he can give them 20 questions, and then they can go off and have the conversations and find the answers.
And right now, they've got all sorts of time. No
UCLA
pressure.
does.
Yeah.
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 Because they made the move after 3 games.
3 games. 15 games the man was coaching. That's nothing.
It really is the blink of an eye. I mean, we talk about 2 years being, will schools pull the trigger in 2 years? And now it's a year and a quarter.
Well, they got to keep pace with the NFL. We've seen the NFL give guys, in the case of Urban, 1 year, less than a season, or only 1 season. There's been a bunch, and the NBA does it. I mean, the Suns, they've changed coaches like 4 years in a row, haven't they?
It's nonstop.
Yeah.
I couldn't name everybody. We tried this with Sacramento once. It's another.
Well, I think it went from Monty Williams to Vogel to Budenholzer, and now whoever the heck the coach is now. I don't even know his name. Well, I'm glad I don't know his name. Because the other way wasn't working.
Oh.
So get the young guy and let him grow.
Jordan Ott.
Jordan Ott, Mel Ott's grandson? I mean, who's he? I don't even know where he came from. His assistant somewhere?
Famous Otts. Ready? And go.
I'd rather do famous bots. But, yeah, I think that's actually a good thing. I don't know his name. So he's not a retread guy.
He was a Cavaliers assistant.
Yeah, good. And let him grow with the program, the team, because obviously it needs some growth there instead of changing every year. But that's what they do. So now the colleges. I can remember, man, when Roger Reed got fired during the season, Majerus just went nuts. And there's a story, I can tell a story, that when they played Colorado State and Wyoming, they would stay at the Marriott in Fort Collins as long as possible, right? So you'd end up having overlap on the Thursday, Saturdays. BYU and Utah players and coaches and everybody would be in the same hotel. Well, there was someone associated with the Utah program in the hot tub there. I don't know if it was the Bullfrog Spa or not, but they were there. I didn't get anything for that? The Bullfrog Spa?
I didn't put it together, but now I do.
Okay, good. Good. Thank you.
Sorry. I just had to go through the Rolodex to yesterday afternoon.
Okay.
Now I'm there.
And so he's in the hot tub, and Roger Reed comes in. And so they're sitting in there, and it was sort of adversarial, right? 2 adversaries. Majerus found out about it, and he asked the guy, because the guy told me this literally, well, did you bleep in the tub and then get out? True story. Well, then Reed gets fired, and Majerus is sending chauffeurs, basically, to pick him up and giving him tickets to the game. He became like his best buddy, and the administration in Utah loved that, and I heard all about that. And he went nuts about somebody being fired during the season. Well, now, these guys, we had 2 guys fired on Saturday or Sunday, one on the East Coast and one on the West Coast, and nobody bats an eyelash. So Kalani doesn't need to rush down there to interview today. This can be a long, drawn-out process.
You would think the timeline is somewhere around Thanksgiving, December 1st. They name their coach.
Oh yeah, you can't quit on these guys. And actually, if you're in the playoff
could be
or
longer.
in the conference title, you can't do what Cristobal did to Oregon.
It's a bad look.
Yes,
I mean, you can do it, but it's a bad
And on
look.
Friday, the Utes rolled them. Now, I'm not saying that was why the Utes rolled them. They probably would have beat them anyway. But it's clear Oregon sucked at the end of the season because all the rumors were to him going to Miami. And then on that Monday, he takes the job. Come on.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Coming up, Frank Dolce here at the top of the hour to talk Utah and Texas Tech. Stay with us.
It's game week for the Cougars, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. It's the first road trip of the year for the Cougars as they make the long flight east for a showdown against East Carolina. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Cougar football. Then catch a special early edition of College Football Saturday starting at 8 a.m. with a postgame show immediately following the game on KSLSports.com. Your home for the best coverage of BYU football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The band of the day today is the Gorillas. It's brought to you by Live Nation. For all the live concerts and events in 2025, check out livenation.com.
Certainly stepping up from the Monkees and the Turtles and the Beatles. Got the Gorillas.
Bigger mammals.
Yeah. Who else you got? The Eagles. Got anybody else?
No.
No? Zero? How about this? What a small world. Pablo Mastroianni and I went to the same high school, several years apart. I'm older, I'll admit it. But our favorite song of the Eagles is the same one.
Get out. Timeless.
Peaceful, Easy Feeling.
There it is.
He's like my brother. You know? I was waiting for you to talk. That's a requirement of the job. Start yapping.
Utah, Texas Tech. The game is Saturday morning.
Yes, it is.
The people with the opinions are joining us momentarily. Chris Level, Texas Tech football sideline reporter and host of Lockdown Texas Tech, will actually be here at 9 o'clock this morning. Frank Dolce, former Ute quarterback, at 8 o'clock. You listen to Kyle talk about that game.
Yeah.
How big a game do you think it feels like to him?
I think, he's a veteran, obviously, and I know he knows there's some juice to it because of the surroundings. Once the ball kicks off, it's a football game, and that is requiring blocking and tackling and all the staples that he has just built his whole
all the sizzle melts away
and coaching career for his whole life.
All the sizzle melts away and it's just steak
But I
and
think
potatoes.
he understands the hoopla. I mean, last year he comes up on the sleeveless things and on a motorcycle,
the Harley,
and he played into it, and it was fun. Now, that wasn't last year. I guess it was a few years back, at least two, right? It wasn't last year, was it? No, because they sucked last year with the injuries. So it would have been. And Oregon came in and kicked the crap out of them. So what difference did it make? Was it the Oregon game? I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was.
First part of November. It was a nice day, and so what difference did that make? You know what I mean? At that time, so I think he understands all the stuff going around. But once the game is played, it's a football game, and to what we talked to. Brian Keel yesterday, and he said we get to find out how good Utah is. Yeah, he's right. And also, Texas Tech. Texas Tech is averaging like 60 points. They're averaging 607 or 602.7 yards a game. That's second in the country behind USC. 600 yards a game. Whittingham would no sooner die than to allow his defense to allow 600 yards a game. But what's the level of competition? Oregon State, we've talked about the two remaining Pac-12 teams have been completely and totally undercut. Bill Orm up there in Portland writing a story, a column that they should fire the coach. He asked him, do you want to be a head coach? And the coach responded with, next question. And so that's creating a stir right there. I feel so bad for Beaver and Cougar fans because they just got completely undercut. Their legs were taken off right underneath them, and for no fault of their own. And then who else did they play?
Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Kent State, and Oregon State. And so, again, depending on how long ago that Oregon State game was scheduled, that could have been perfectly good scheduling, trying to find somebody you can test yourself against. That'd be fine, and the circumstances change pretty quickly.
Right. Even their own coach who played there left.
But now, as much as we can say Utah hasn't been tested, so we don't really know who Utah is, has Texas Tech been tested?
No.
Do we really know who Texas Tech is?
No, it's the exact same thing. But we care about Utah.
Right.
So, Keel was right. We get to find out how good they really are. And you can't go crazy because it's one of 9. So if you come out and look awesome and beat Texas Tech and then go back to West Virginia and lose, well, you're still 1-1. So we can't go too crazy.
You can win
on that.
the opener and think it's a big deal at the time and then lose 7 straight games.
But it is a big deal at the time.
Because that's exactly what happened last year. We thought Oklahoma State was a big deal and a big measuring stick, and then both those teams went out and lost the next game and lost the next game and put together long losing streaks.
That would be.
That's an extreme example, but it was
9-7.
Yeah, 7 for the Utes and 9 for the Cowboys, isn't it?
I don't think that'll happen here.
I don't either. I think that's an extreme example, but nonetheless, that shows you what happens when you rest on one game. Frank Dolce, former Ute quarterback, joins us next. Stay with us.